She sent the text at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. "Oh my God, Mia, guess what? Pregnant again! Ryan and I are so bad at this birth control thing." 3 laughing emojis. Like it was a joke. Like getting pregnant was just something that happened to her by accident. Again. For the 3rd time. I stared at my phone screen in the dark, Jake sleeping beside me, and felt something inside me crack. Not break. I'd already broken. This was different. This was the sound of whatever was left of our friendship turning to dust. My name is Mia. I'm 32 years old. I live in Austin, Texas with my husband Jake and our dog Biscuit. And I've just spent $30,000 trying to have a baby. $30,000. Money we'd saved for a house. Money we'd scraped together from overtime shifts and canceled vacations and eating ramen for dinner 3 nights a week. Money we'd borrowed from Jake's parents with promises we'd pay them back. All of it gone. Injected into my body. Transferred into my uterus. Flushed away with negative pregnancy tests. And my best friend since college? She got pregnant for the 3rd time by forgetting to take her pill. To understand why that text felt like a betrayal, you have to go back. Back to when Brittany and I were just 2 girls in a UT Austin dorm room, staying up too late, dreaming about futures that felt inevitable. We met freshman year. She was across the hall. Communications major. Blonde highlights. Effortlessly pretty in that way that made guys trip over themselves. I was pre-med. Dark circles under my eyes, living on coffee and ambition. We shouldn't have been friends, but somehow we were. Study sessions that turned into wine nights, spring breaks in South Padre, graduation caps thrown in the air with promises to stay close forever. And we did stay close. Through her engagement to Ryan, finance bro, nice enough, made good money. Through my wedding to Jake, software engineer, kind eyes, made me laugh. Through our late 20s when life felt like it was just beginning, we texted every day, visited each other, me in Austin, her in Dallas, talked about our future kids growing up together like cousins. "They'll be best friends," Brittany would say, sipping her rosé, "just like us." I believed her. I believed in us. I believed that when the time came to have babies, we'd do it together, navigate motherhood side by side, complain about sleepless nights, and compare notes on pediatricians. But life doesn't work like that. Jake and I started trying when I was 29. We'd been married 2 years. Felt like the right time. We had steady jobs, a decent apartment, a dog. The foundation was solid. "Let's make a baby," Jake said one night, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. I laughed, threw a pillow at him. "You make it sound so easy." "Isn't it?" God, we were so naive. Month 1, fun, exciting, a little scandalous to be trying. Month 3, still optimistic. It takes time, everyone said. Month 6, starting to worry. Bought ovulation tests, downloaded an app. Month 12, sitting in Dr. Rodriguez's office in Houston, filling out forms, trying not to cry. Unexplained infertility, Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice gentle but matter-of-fact. Everything looks normal on paper. Your ovarian reserve is good. Jake's sperm count is excellent. Sometimes it just takes longer for some couples. How much longer? I asked. She smiled that smile doctors give when they don't want to give you false hope. Hard to say. We can try a few rounds of IUI first. If that doesn't work, we'll talk about IVF. IVF. In vitro fertilization. The big guns. The thing you see in movies. The thing that costs as much as a car. How much does IVF cost? Jake asked. Dr. Rodriguez didn't flinch. In Texas, without insurance coverage, you're looking at around $12,000 to $15,000 per cycle. That includes medications, monitoring, retrieval, and transfer. Most people need 2 to 3 cycles. I felt the number land in my chest like a stone. $12,000 to $15,000 per cycle. We had $11,000 in our house fund. $11,000 we'd been saving for 3 years. Every bonus, every tax return, Every dollar we didn't spend on dinners out or new furniture. All of it earmarked for a down payment. For a house with a yard. For a nursery painted soft yellow or pale blue. For our future. That's when Brittany called. I was sitting in the car in the clinic parking lot, Jake driving us back to Austin in silence, when my phone rang. Her face popped up on the screen. Smiling, sunglass, taken on some beach vacation. I almost didn't answer, but she was my best friend. So I did. Mia! Oh my God, I have news!
To remember who we were before infertility consumed us. Jake and I started going on dates again, movies, hikes, dinners, where we didn't talk about follicle counts or embryo grades. I started therapy, joined a support group for women experiencing infertility. Met people who understood in ways Brittany never could. Women who'd spent tens of thousands on treatments. Women who'd lost babies. Women who were still fighting. They held my pain like it was sacred. Because it was. Brittany had her third baby in November. Another boy, Cooper James, 8 pounds, 3 ounces. I saw the announcement through a mutual friend's shared Facebook post. The photo showed Brittany in a hospital bed, exhausted but glowing, holding a tiny newborn while Mason and his middle brother crowded into the frame. 3 boys. Our family's complete, so blessed. The comments poured in. You're a super mom. 3 under 3, you're amazing. Your boys are so lucky to have you. I stared at that photo for a long time. Brittany looked tired, but happy. Genuinely, effortlessly happy. While I sat alone in my apartment with 7 frozen embryos I couldn't afford and a bank account that screamed failure. I felt that familiar sting of jealousy, but it was duller now. Therapy had taken the sharpest edges off. Time had scabbed over the worst wounds. I still hurt. But it wasn't the raw bleeding pain it had been a year ago. Progress, I guess. I clicked out of Facebook, didn't comment, didn't like the post, and just let it exist without me. That evening, Jake found me sitting on our balcony staring at nothing. You okay? He asked gently. Brittany had her baby. He sat down beside me. And I'm sorry, I'm not even mad anymore. That's what's weird. I just feel empty. Like I used up all my anger, and all that's left is this hollow space where my hope used to be. He took my hand. We're going to try again. In a few months, when we have the money. And what if it doesn't work? Then we try again. With what money, Jake? We've already spent our entire savings. We're in debt. We're eating rice and beans for dinner. How many more times can we do this? He didn't have an answer, because there wasn't one. We sat there in silence, watching the Austin skyline fade into twilight. 2 people who'd started this journey full of hope and excitement, now just tired, broke, barely holding on, but still holding on, somehow. By December, I'd started to feel more like myself, not the old me. That version of Mia, the one who believed getting pregnant would be easy, who planned baby names with innocent excitement, who didn't know the cost of fertility medications, she was gone. But I was becoming someone new, someone harder, someone who knew how to survive disappointment, someone who could see a pregnancy announcement and not completely fall apart. It wasn't the version of myself I'd wanted to become, but it was the version I needed to be. The support group helped more than I expected. Every Thursday evening, I sat in that circle of folding chairs with 6 other women who understood. We celebrated the small victories. Jennifer's embryo transfer, Sarah's adoption application approval, Melissa's first positive ovulation test after 3 months of Clomid. And we mourned the losses, Jennifer's negative beta, another woman's early miscarriage, the financial strain that forced someone to stop treatments. We were a sisterhood bound by grief and hope in equal measure. One night in January after group, Jennifer pulled me aside. How are you really doing? Honestly, I don't know. Some days I'm fine. Some days I want to scream at every pregnant woman I see. She laughed. Not a happy laugh, a knowing one. Yeah, I get that. How do you keep going after 4 failed IVF cycles? She was quiet for a moment, and then she said, because the alternative is giving up, and I'm not ready to do that yet. Maybe I never will be. Maybe I'll be that woman who tries until she's 45 and bankrupts herself and still doesn't have a baby. But at least I'll know I tried. That sounds exhausting. It is, but so is living with regret. I thought about that conversation for weeks, about whether I was ready to give up, about whether one more try was worth it, about whether I could survive another failure. The answer kept coming back. I had to try. Because Jennifer was right. The regret of not trying would be worse than the pain of trying and failing. By February, we'd saved $5,800. So close. Jake picked up one more freelance project. I worked extra DoorDash shifts. By March, we hit $6,000, enough for one frozen embryo transfer. One last chance. We scheduled the appointment with Dr. Rodriguez for late March. I sat in her familiar office with the same pamphlets and the same motivational posters about journeys and hope. You have 7 frozen embryos, she reminded us. All excellent quality from your second retrieval cycle. I recommend transferring just one. If it doesn't work, you'll still have 6 more chances. 6 more chances. That would have sounded hopeful 2 years ago. Now it just sounded expensive. What are our odds? I asked. And with frozen embryo transfers, your age and the quality of your embryos, I'd estimate 55 to 60% chance of pregnancy per transfer. Better than a coin flip. But not by much. And if this one doesn't work, Jake asked. Dr. Rodriguez's expression softened. Then you try again when you're ready. There's no rush. These embryos can stay frozen for years. Years. More years of waiting. More years of saving. More years of watching other people have babies while we struggled. Let's do it, I said, but because what other choice did we have? The transfer prep was straightforward. Progesterone suppositories starting 5 days before. One monitoring ultrasound to check my lining. One embryo thaw scheduled for the morning of transfer. Transfer day was April 15th, tax day. The universe had a twisted sense of humor. We arrived at the clinic at 9 a.m. They took me back at 9:30, had me change into a gown, started an IV for the mild sedative they give during transfer. The embryologist came in with a photo. This is your embryo, thawed beautifully this morning, grade AA, perfect expansion, ready to go. I stared at that tiny photo, a cluster of cells, a maybe, a hope, possibly my baby, possibly another expensive disappointment. They wheeled me into the procedure room. Cold, sterile, too bright. Dr. Rodriguez smiled at me from behind her surgical mask. Ready to make a baby? I tried to smile back, and as ready as I'll ever be. The procedure took less than 10 minutes. I watched on the ultrasound screen as she guided the catheter through my cervix. Watched the tiny flash of white that represented my embryo being released. And then it was done, and one embryo with one chance, one desperate prayer. Rest for 20 minutes, then you can go home, the nurse said. Normal activity after that. Blood test in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The longest 2 weeks. Again, this time I didn't obsess, didn't Google symptoms or didn't take early tests, and I just worked, went to therapy, attended support group, tried to protect whatever fragile hope I had left. On day 10, I woke up feeling different. Not nauseous, not crampy, and just aware. Like my body knew something, my mind didn't. I pushed the thought away and told myself I was imagining things. Went to work, delivered DoorDash orders after, came home exhausted. On day 12, I realized my period was late. But progesterone suppositories could delay it, so I didn't let myself hope. On day 14, the morning of my blood test, I broke. Took a pregnancy test while Jake was in the shower, just to prepare myself and just to know what to expect. Peed on the stick, set it on the counter, walked out of the bathroom, counted to 90, went back in, 2 lines, faint but visible. I picked up the test, stared at it, blinked. Still 2 lines, and took another test from the box. Same result, a third, still positive. My hands started shaking. Jake came out of the shower, towel around his waist. Mia, you okay? I couldn't speak, just held out the test to 3 of them, all positive, and he stared. Is that... I don't know, maybe. The blood test is in 2 hours. We sat on the edge of our bed, not celebrating, not crying, just breathing, holding each other, scared to believe this was real. The blood test, 3 hours later, confirmed what those tests suggested. Congratulations, Mia, the nurse said warmly. Your HCG is 68. You're pregnant. Pregnant. After 3 years of trying, after $30,000 spent, after 2 full IVF cycles, after a year of healing and therapy and working ourselves to exhaustion to afford one more chance, pregnant, I didn't cry, didn't celebrate, just whispered thank you and hung up. Called Jake from the parking lot. It's positive. HCG is 68. He exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for 3 years. Oh, thank God, Mia. Now I cried. Sitting in my car in the clinic parking lot, I finally let myself feel it. Relief, fear, desperate, terrified hope. We didn't tell anyone for months. Protected this pregnancy like it was made of glass and wishes. Every appointment, I expected bad news. Every ultrasound, I braced for an empty sac or no heartbeat or something wrong. But week after week, our baby grew. 6 weeks, heartbeat strong at 128 beats per minute. 8 weeks, measuring perfectly on track. 10 weeks, all major organs developing normally. 12 weeks, blood work came back low risk for chromosomal abnormalities. 20 weeks, anatomy scan showed a healthy baby girl. A girl. We sat in the ultrasound room, holding hands, watching our daughter move on the screen. Jake cried. I just stared. This was real. After everything, she was real. In January, we decided to try one more time. One frozen embryo transfer. We could only afford one. We'd scraped together $6,000. Enough for the transfer, the monitoring, the medications. If this didn't work, we were done. No more IVF, no more treatments, no more hope. Just acceptance that maybe we weren't meant to be parents. The transfer went smoothly. One perfect embryo. Thawed beautifully. Placed gently into my uterus while I prayed harder than I'd ever prayed. Please let this work, please. The 2-week wait is what every woman going through IVF talks about, with a mixture of dread, dark humor, and desperate hope. 14 days between embryo transfer and blood test. 14 days of analyzing every twinge, every cramp, every sensation in your body. 14 days of wondering if you're pregnant or if you're just imagining symptoms because you want it so badly. It's psychological warfare. On day 1 post-transfer, I felt nothing. On day 2, I convinced myself I felt implantation cramping. On day 3, I was nauseous, definitely pregnant. On day 4, the nausea was gone, definitely not pregnant. On day 5, my breasts were sore. Pregnancy symptom. On day 6, I remembered that progesterone supplements also cause sore breasts. False alarm. Jake watched me spiral with patient concern. Maybe you should stop Googling symptoms, he suggested gently. I'm not Googling symptoms, like, you've been on your phone for 2 hours. I'm just researching. Mia. Fine, I'm Googling symptoms. He took my phone. Let's watch a movie. But I couldn't focus. Couldn't think about anything except those 2 tiny embryos possibly implanting in my uterus. Or not implanting. Or implanting and then stopping. There were so many ways this could fail. On day 7, I broke down and took a home pregnancy test. Too early, I knew, but I couldn't help it. Stark white, negative. It's too early, Jake said. The embryo might not have implanted yet. Or it might never implant. Don't think like that. But how else was I supposed to think? Hope felt like setting myself up for devastation. On day 9, I tested again. Still negative. On day 11, negative. On day 13, the day before my blood test, I took my last test. Stared at the single line. Felt my period starting. That familiar cramping and that telltale heaviness. I knew. Before the blood test confirmed it, I knew it hadn't worked. The blood test the next morning was just a formality. I'm sorry, Mia, the nurse said gently when she called with the results. Your HCG level is less than 5. The cycle was unsuccessful. Unsuccessful, what a clinical word for devastating. I hung up, sat on the bathroom floor, stared at the wall. $12,000, months of planning, weeks of injections, 18 eggs and 7 embryos, 0 baby. Jake came home early from work. Found me still sitting on the bathroom floor. He didn't say anything, just sat down beside me and held my hand. We stayed there for a long time. Not talking, just existing in the wreckage of our failed cycle. That evening, scrolling mindlessly through my phone, I saw Brittany's new Instagram post, a photo of baby Mason sleeping, 6 months old now. Chunky thighs, perfect smile. The caption, "This little guy makes every sleepless night worth it. Our family feels complete for now." For now. That winky face, that casual suggestion of maybe another baby someday. I felt something dark and bitter rise in my chest. She had no idea, no concept of what it was like to want a baby so desperately. You'd drain your savings account. There's no understanding of what it felt like to have your body fail you month after month. To her, babies just happened. Accidentally, easily, while I paid $12,000 for the privilege of failure. I deleted Instagram that night, blocked Brittany's number, muted the group chat with our college friends. I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't watch other people have what I wanted while I hemorrhaged money and hope. We took 3 months off before attempting round 2. 3 months to let my body recover from the hormones. 3 months to save money we didn't have. 3 months of working every possible overtime shift. Jake picked up weekend work. I started door dashing after my regular job. 6 p.m. to midnight, delivering food to people who probably spent more on dinner than we had in our bank account. We ate rice and beans, canceled our streaming subscriptions, stopped going out. Every dollar went into the IVF fund. By July, we'd saved enough for one more round, barely. We scheduled our second cycle for August. The protocol was almost identical. Same medications, same daily injections, same early morning monitoring appointments, but everything felt heavier this time, more desperate, more expensive, more like our last chance. And they retrieved 20 eggs in round 2, 17 fertilized, 9 made it to blastocyst. We transferred 2 again. Froze 7. I was more careful during the 2-week wait this time. Didn't obsess over symptoms. Didn't take early tests. Didn't let myself hope too hard. Just waited, prayed. Tried to breathe through the anxiety. The blood test came on a Tuesday morning. I was at work when the nurse called. "I'm sorry, Mia. Your HCG level is negative. The cycle was unsuccessful." I hung up, walked to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall and sobbed. $24,000, 2 rounds of IVF, 37 eggs total, 16 embryos total, 0 pregnancies, 0 babies. I called Jake from the bathroom stall. "It didn't work," I said, my voice breaking. He was quiet for a moment, and then, "I'm so sorry, Mia. I don't think I can do this again." "Then we won't. We'll figure something else out." "Like what? Adoption costs even more than IVF. And we're broke, Jake. We're completely broke." "I know. I'm 31 years old and I can't even afford to buy a baby. How pathetic is that?" "You're not pathetic. I have to go." I hung up before he could finish. And spent the rest of the day moving through work like a robot, answering emails, attending meetings, pretending my entire world hadn't just collapsed. That night, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I almost deleted it. Then I saw the message. "Mia, it's Brittany. I know you blocked me, but I got a new number. I have news I want to share with you. Call me." I stared at the text, felt a cold dread settle in my stomach. Number. She wouldn't. She couldn't possibly be that tone deaf. But deep down, I knew. I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Mia, oh my God, I'm so glad you called. I've been trying to reach you forever." "What's your news, Brittany?" "Well, okay, so don't freak out, but I'm pregnant again." The room tilted. "You're what?" I know. Mason is only 14 months old. We definitely were not planning this, but I guess we got careless with birth control and surprise, baby number 3. Baby number 3. Careless with birth control. Surprise. I couldn't breathe. And Mia, are you there? How far along are you? 8 weeks. Just had my first ultrasound yesterday. Everything looks great. Due in March. March, 6 months away. While I sat here with 7 frozen embryos I couldn't afford to transfer and no baby in sight. That's great, Britt. I know you're probably shocked. I mean, I'm shocked. Ryan's in complete denial. But hey, what's one more kid, right? What's one more kid? As if babies were just things that happen. As if fertility was infinite and free and easy. Actually, Brittany, I need to tell you something. Yeah? I've been doing IVF. For the past year, we've spent over $24,000. Both cycles failed. And I can't keep doing this. hearing about your accidental pregnancies while I'm literally paying thousands of dollars trying to get pregnant and failing. Silence on the other end, long, heavy. Then, I didn't know you were doing IVF. Because you never asked. Every time we talk, it's about your life, your pregnancies, your kids. You never once asked how I was really doing. That's not fair, Mia. You never told me you were struggling. I shouldn't have to tell you. You're supposed to be my best friend. You're supposed to notice when I pull away, when I stop responding, when I miss your baby shower. I thought you were just busy with work. I wasn't busy, Brittany. I was breaking, and you were too wrapped up in your own perfect life to see it. My life isn't perfect. You have 3 kids, 3 kids you didn't even plan for, kids you got by accident. Do you have any idea how that feels? To watch you complain about being pregnant again while I'm injecting myself with hormones and spending money I don't have and still ending up with nothing? She was crying now, but I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Well, now you do. What can I do? How can I help? You can't. There's nothing you can do. I need space from you, from your pregnancies, from all of it. Mia I have to go. I hung up before she could respond, and I felt nothing. Not better and not worse. It's just empty, hollowed out, done. The blood test confirmed it. Pregnant. HCG levels at 68. Cautiously optimistic, Dr. Rodriguez said. We held our breath for weeks. Every appointment, every ultrasound, every milestone. 6 weeks, heartbeat detected. 8 weeks, growth on track. 12 weeks, everything perfect. And 20 weeks, a girl. We named her Emma. Not because it was planned. We'd never actually settled on a name during the pregnancy. Too scared to jinx it. Too afraid to name something that might be taken away. But when she was born on a cold October morning, 40 weeks and 3 days, after 16 hours of labor, and they placed her on my chest, tiny and furious and perfect, the name just came to me. Emma. It means universal or whole. And looking at her scrunched up face, hearing her angry newborn cry, feeling her warm weight against my skin, she made us whole. After everything we'd lost, everything we'd spent, everything we'd endured, she made us whole. The first few weeks of motherhood were a blur. Sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, learning to breastfeed. Googling, is this normal, at 3 a.m. But underneath the exhaustion was a bone-deep gratitude I'd never experienced before. Every time Emma cried, I was grateful she was alive to cry. Every dirty diaper was a gift. Every feeding was a miracle. I didn't take a single moment for granted, but because I knew intimately, painfully how much it cost to get here. Brittany texted when Emma was 2 weeks old. I'd unblocked her number after Emma was born, not because I'd forgiven her, but because holding onto anger while holding my daughter felt impossible. The text was simple. I saw on Facebook, "Congratulations, Mia. I'm really happy for you." I stared at it for a long time. Remembered all the hurt, the insensitive comments, the accidental pregnancies, and the complete inability to see my pain. And I felt nothing, not anger, not resentment, just closure. I typed back, "Thank you." 2 words, polite but distant. She responded immediately. I would love to meet her sometime. Maybe we could get the kids together. I didn't respond to that. I didn't need to. Some friendships aren't meant to be repaired. Some relationships serve their purpose and then end. And that's okay. Emma turned 6 months old in April, started eating solid foods, laughing at everything, reaching for biscuit with sticky hands. I went back to work part-time, found a babysitter we loved, started feeling like myself again. Not the old me, not the broken, infertile me, but a new version. Stronger, grateful, whole. One afternoon, Jake and I were at the park with Emma. She was in a baby swing, squealing with delight. A woman next to us was pushing her toddler on the swing beside Emma's. "How old?" she asked, smiling. 6 months, I said. "Oh, she's precious. Is she your first?" I hesitated, because how do you answer that question when you've spent $30,000 in 3 years and 2 failed IVF cycles to get here? When she's your first living child, but not your first embryo? When every pregnancy announcement used to feel like a knife? "Yes," I said finally. "She's our first." The woman smiled. "Enjoy it. They grow up so fast. I have 3 now. Can you believe it? Sometimes I don't know how it happened." Sometimes I don't know how it happened. That phrase was so casual and so common. It used to make me want to scream. Now it just made me grateful. Grateful that for us, I knew exactly how it happened. With science and money and hope and heartbreak. With injections and ultrasounds and embryo transfers. With Jake working overtime and me door dashing at night. With Dr. Rodriguez and frozen embryos and a lot of prayers. I knew how it happened. And that knowing made Emma even more precious. Emma turned 1 in October. We threw a small party, just us and Jake's parents and a few close friends from my support group. No Brittany, no college friends, just the people who'd held us through the hardest years. Emma smashed her cake with pure joy, laughed that belly laugh that sounds like bubbles, toddled around on chubby legs. And I watched her and thought, you were worth it. Every dollar, every injection, every tear, every moment of despair, all of it, worth it. Now, at 2 years old, Emma has Jake's green eyes and my dark hair. She's stubborn and funny and obsessed with dogs. She calls Biscuit Bisbee and demands to feed him treats every morning. She sings constantly, off-key toddler songs that make no sense. She gives the wettest, sloppiest kisses. And every single day, I look at her and feel overwhelmed by gratitude. People ask sometimes if we'll have another. We have 6 frozen embryos left, 6 more chances, 6 more maybes, and I don't know yet. Some days I think yes. Emma should have a sibling. We could afford 1 more transfer now, maybe 2. Other days I think no. We're complete as we are. Why risk the heartbreak again? Why tempt fate? But mostly I just focus on right now, on this moment, on this miracle sitting in front of me, demanding more Cheerios and making me read Goodnight Moon for the 17th time today. That's enough. She's enough. We're enough. Brittany and I don't talk anymore. I see her occasionally on social media through mutual friends. Our 3 boys are growing up. She looks tired in most photos. Happy but tired. I don't feel jealous anymore and I don't feel angry. I don't feel much of anything except mild curiosity about how her life turned out. She never meant to hurt me. She just couldn't see past her own abundance to understand my emptiness, and I've learned that's okay. Some people can't hold space for your pain while celebrating their joy. Some friendships can't survive infertility. Some relationships are meant for a season, not a lifetime. I've learned to protect my peace, to set boundaries, to walk away from people who can't see me. And I've learned that motherhood, when it finally comes after years of waiting, is both exactly what I expected and nothing like I imagined. It's harder, more exhausting, more overwhelming, but also more beautiful, more profound, more worth it than I ever knew was possible. Emma is napping right now. I can hear her through the baby monitor, those sweet snuffling sounds she makes. And I'm sitting here, writing this story, thinking about all the women out there who are still in the thick of it, still injecting hormones, still getting negative tests, still watching friends get pregnant easily, still wondering if their turn will ever come. And I want you to know, your story isn't over. It feels like it sometimes. When you're sitting in your car after another failed cycle, crying so hard you can't breathe. When you're avoiding baby showers and pregnancy announcements because you just can't anymore. When you're drowning in debt and despair and wondering if this will ever work. But your story isn't over, mine wasn't. And neither is yours. I spent $30,000, 3 years trying. 2 failed IVF cycles, 1 lost friendship, countless tears, and now I have Emma. Your baby is coming. Maybe not the way you planned. Maybe not when you expected. Maybe not how you imagined. But they're coming. And when they get here, when you finally hold them and smell that newborn smell and count their tiny fingers, you'll know it was all worth it. Every painful, expensive, heartbreaking moment, all of it, worth it. And if you're in the thick of infertility right now, watching friends get pregnant easily while you struggle, draining your bank account for treatments that might not work, wondering if you'll ever get your happy ending, please hear me. Your story isn't over, your pain is valid, and you're not alone. If you'd like support, community, or gentle guidance on your fertility journey, I've created a free resource for you. It's called 7 Signs of Ovulation to Watch For, and you can download it at www.theinfertilitysecrets.com. But more than that, I want you to know you're not broken. Your body isn't failing you, and the baby meant for you will come in their own perfect timing. Keep going, one brave step at a time.